let's start from the basics, right? So I think it really comes down to the fact that neural networks, they're very good with interpolation, not necessarily good with extrapolation. And what this means is that LLMs, they're digesting such a huge volume of data that it looks like they've tricked us into believing that they can think for themselves, but quite a lot of these thought artifacts they're producing, they're not real thoughts, but they're a mirage, they're an illusion, right? So they do have some logical reasoning capabilities, but it does look they have very important issues around forming concepts or having some kind of understanding of what a concept is. And a very good example is when you try to trick an LLM and you provide a picture that it looks like something, let's say a zebra with 5 legs, right? And then you ask it, oh, how many legs does this have? And then it's like, oh, it has 4. Because and a human maybe would be tricked in the same way, but not some kind of super intelligence. And the reason there, what is happening is that it's been trained on so many images of 4-legged animals that it doesn't have really a concept that, okay, that's a leg, and that's something that doesn't adapt here. It's like 5 legs, so I have to reason my way out of this. And again, the way it does this, and the way it does any kind of reasoning or inference is quite inefficient. And it feels that for a while, for the last few years, we've been bypassing this problem by just feeding more and more data into this machine. So that's like one issue. Another issue and one reason that LLMs are being banned from different places is that, well, no one really knows what's happening behind the scenes, right? So apparently DeepSeek is sending data to some servers in the US and China. No one knows what's happening with that data. There's a lot of attack vectors that can take place through LLMs. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, like how, for example, you can ask an LLM to decipher something and the cipher contains prohibited instructions, like, oh, how do I create a bomb, for example, all kinds of crazy stuff. And similarly, I think using LLMs for, depending upon LLMs for your searches is as a Google search replacement is quite interesting, let's say, because if I know that you're searching for particular stuff in Google and I see, what kind of pages you're looking at and all that, I do have an idea that, maybe you were, I don't know, trying to organize a trip, right? But the output produced by a large language model is so specific, right? And quite often it's instructions. It can be code, right? So if I, the company, the owner of the LLM, have access to this information and I know that someone in country XYZ are using this software and they're using this piece of code wherever, then this can create all kinds of vulnerabilities. And I don't think that, I don't believe there's any kind of major incidents that have taken place yet, maybe because it's still early days. But, we can just sit here for an hour and just discuss about all potential attack vectors and ways to hack an LLM or, this and that. So it's normal for big organizations, for governments, etc., to be skeptical simply because they have the resources and they can afford to throw manpower into a problem. It's not like a small business that's like, oh, I'm not gonna, hire an assistant. I'm gonna use ChatGPT, Claude, DeepSeek, Gemini, whatever, to help me do certain tasks.